Now the fourth factor is another important factor, moisture. So moisture levels or moisture conditions are very, very important for growth of organisms. So most vegetative cells can live only a few hours without moisture. So water is the media in which most of the bacterial species can thrive. So only the spores of spore-forming organisms can exist in dormant form in a dry environment. So moisture is something which is very, very important as long as survival of organism is concerned. Now, level of humidity or level of moisture varies from species to species, but mostly 75% of the humidity is considered to be optimum for growth of most of the bacteria. So just mention this fourth point, moisture, put a dash, write down optimum is 75%. Optimum is 75%. Number fourth, moisture, put a dash, optimum is 75%. Now, next important factor is hydrostatic pressure. Okay. Now, this factor is irrelevant as long as culturing of bacteria in laboratory is concerned. But this factor is very, very important while studying the species of organisms which survive in extreme environments. So, water in ocean bodies and deep lakes exert extreme hydrostatic pressure, the pressure exerted by standing water in proportion to its depth. So deeper the environment, more is the hydrostatic pressure. So such pressure doubles every 10-meter increase in depth. For example, in lakes with 50-meter depth, the pressure is 32 times as compared to the atmospheric normal pressure. Okay, so it has been found out that the organisms can survive such a large hydrostatic pressure, and bacteria have been growing in like deep sea environments and deep lake environments. So bacteria that lives at very, very high pressure are known as barophiles. Okay, the thing is, if you remove these bacteria from under that pressure, or you remove all that pressure from those organisms, if you try to culture these organisms in a free pressure free environment in labs, they will die, because their enzyme and cell wall system is born or is made up in such a way that they do not simply tolerate, but they require the pressure to function properly. So the biochemical complexity of these organisms in such a way that they require that pressure to survive. So if you remove all that pressure from those organisms, they will not be able to survive. The high pressure is necessary to keep their enzyme system in proper three-dimensional configuration, and that is why they survive only in those given extreme environmental conditions, and those are termed as barophiles. So give number 5, write down hydrostatic pressure. Give number 5, write down hydrostatic pressure. Below that, write down this term of barophile. Put a dash. Bacteria that lives at high pressure. Bacteria that lives at high pressure. That's it. Now, next factor is osmotic pressure. So, as we have already discussed, because of all the complex components that bacterial cell carries inside the cell, within the cell, the concentration of all the salts or all the elements or all the nutritional factors is different for inside the cell and outside the cell. So depending on the environment, bacterial cell can undergo either plasmolysis or plasmoptosis. Okay, suppose the concentration of molecules or nutritional material or salt is higher outside in the environment as compared to within the cell, what will happen? All the fluid from within the cell will try to go outside towards the high concentration of salt, and in this process, the bacterial cell will shrink. It will undergo shrinkage because the cells kept in hyperosmotic condition, hyperosmotic environment will tend to lose water. So this process is known as plasmolysis. Plasmolysis. Okay. Now another exactly opposite term is plasmoptosis. So in this, what happens? Bacterial cell, if you keep it in hypoosmotic condition, or where the concentration of molecules is higher within the cell. So what will happen? Water from outside, water from the environment will try to enter inside the cell, and bacterial cell will go on swelling, and at one point it will gain water, and at one point it will burst. It is known as plasmoptosis. So this process or this phenomenon of osmotic pressure or osmotic balance is used from since ages in preservation of food. So they increase the concentration of sugar in jams or salts in pickle, so that these food items will be preserved for longer period of time. And the reason being, organisms cannot survive such high concentrations of either sugar or salt molecules. They will die of the plasmolysis. Okay, but again, just like other extremophiles, there are organisms which can survive at extreme in extreme concentration of salts. So such organisms are known as halophiles. So halophiles are salt-loving organisms. They require moderate or large quantities of salt, typically sodium chloride, for survival. Okay. So halophiles are typically found in the ocean, in the salt water, where the concentration of salt is approximately 3.5% and is found to be optimum for their growth. Okay. So these halophiles are commonly found in salt lakes or in ocean economy. So these they have been also found out that these extreme halophiles can also survive in the salt concentration of 20 to 30%. At that high salt concentration also, those organisms are termed as extreme halophiles. So this is the example of Great Salt Lake in Utah, the example of an environment in which halophile organisms thrive. So they have been observed. It has been observed that if you try to take pictures of this Great Salt Lake in Utah, so it looks like big pink patches from air if you take pictures from above. Okay, so these extreme halophiles, the 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 speciality of this salt region of Great Salt Lake is the environment in this salt lake is 10 times saltier than the ocean water. In spite of that, it supports many varieties of bacteria, halobacteria. Okay, so the typical properties of these halobacteria are they lack peptidoglycan in their cell wall, and that is why most of these halobacteria are gram negative in nature. Also, they are insensitive to most of the antibiotics, and they contain unusually large plasmids. Plasmid are the genetic material which is coiled together inside the cell, and it has been found that they are obligate aerobes. Okay, so they require free oxygen for their survival. So the speciality of these halobacteria are they require sodium for growth, and this requirement is very high, which is not satisfied with any normal environmental condition, and that is why very high concentration of salt in these lakes become the favorable environmental system for these kind of bacteria.